everyone, I'm your host Pensyfan19 and welcome to the March 2024 Pensyfan Periodical. This is the monthly news series which covers most of the major railroading headlines from around the world, as well as my opinions on them. We have a lot of articles to go over today, so with that in mind, let's get rolling. First off, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Planning held a public meeting at the former CNJ Communipod Terminal on March 2nd regarding current plans in the Liberty State Park redevelopment plan to convert the former train shed into a multi-purpose building. News about this redevelopment appears to be relatively quiet among rail fans, especially since it would change most of the terminal for non-rail related uses, so here to explain his concerns about the use of Communipod train shed in the current proposal, please welcome one of the people who attended one of their public meetings, Empire State Rails.
Hi there, my name's Empire State Rails. I'm a trains YouTuber and New York rail fan. I'm happy for Pensyfan to give me this platform to talk about an issue that matters to me and I think will also matter to a lot of you. If you don't already know, there's a historic train terminal in Liberty State Park, which is located right across from Lower Manhattan in New Jersey. This terminal used to be operated by the Central Railroad of New Jersey. It is one of two surviving stations of its kind, the other one being in Hoboken, just a little north. It's unique in its design and its history for both America as a whole and railroading. It served hundreds of trains, most notably the Blue Comet. The station is currently at risk of being partially demolished and redeveloped into a Frankenstein of odd ideas. Some of these ideas include a farmer's market, bee sanctuary, indoor garden, and an art gallery. It's a total waste of space that could be placed anywhere else in the area, but anti-rail opponents have no interest in keeping the station's history alive. This is part of a new plan to redevelop Liberty State Park by the state of New Jersey. Despite the good intentions that the commission redeveloping the park might have, it fails to recognize the importance in preserving the train shed to its original state and the purpose that it could serve. In 1999, the state of New Jersey commissioned a report about what to do with the train terminal. The report's conclusion was that the station and train sheds would best be used as a train museum. The only reason this did not go through was because of a change in government and that it would conflict with plans for a state museum that was proposed to be built in Phillipsburg. That museum never came to be, so there's no conflict of interest today in building a train museum at the shed. There are many people who are absolutely opposed to the shed being restored to its original state and having there being anything rail related at all. This is where you can come in to help. In the description below, there will be links to the official Liberty State Park Design Task Force website. In this website, you will see details about future meetings and how to contact the task force and leave your support for preserving the train shed and the train terminal. For too long, rail preservation has been sidelined and discarded by the general public, but together we can make a difference. Preservation only happens if you show up to help. On Tuesday, April 9th at 6 p.m. at the Liberty State Park train terminal, a public meeting will be held about plans for the entire park. You can either join via Zoom or in person. There will be a public comment section after the presentation is done. During this public comment section, you can say your piece and show your support for bringing the station back to its original glory. Keep in mind, making a train museum at the location is entirely possible. There were previous plans for it, and the task force is open to the idea. The only thing that's left is enough public support. Please consider either joining the meeting or writing to the task force to show your support. Thank you so much.
Speaking of which, here is some interesting news. The French Lick Scenic Railway has acquired a Colorado railcar bi-level DMU that once ran for Tri-Rail. Rail Fan and Railroad Magazine promoted the Ahead of the Torch podcast in a Rail News article. An 1872 built 040T has been excavated in Rawbank, Ontario after being buried since 1909, while an LNER BK 1820 freight wagon has been excavated in Antwerp, Belgium. A superliner was spotted behind a Boeing delivery train. The Wiscasset, Waterville, and Farmington is to purchase South African ballast hoppers to help with their expansion. Lagos has opened their airport railway shuttle with GP38s, Talgo 8s, and British Rail Class 43s. A small OBB X534 switcher has been converted to run on hydrogen in addition to overhead wires, possibly being the smallest hydrogen conversion in the world. Zephyr shunters start to replace the British Rail Class 08 on many industrial railways. DB Cargo has implemented their own version of the Fade Heritage Unit on a dual-mode Vectron. Hornby released the Battle of Britain class to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the Starlight Express musical written by Andrew Lloyd Webber. London Underground has started testing quantum location technology on their subways. Italy has tested the iron-lev autonomous magnetic bogie with wheels hugging the side of the rails instead of laying on top of them. Northrop Grumman is to develop a railway system on the moon. A runaway train on Indian Railways traveled for 44 miles with no injuries, with the train thankfully being stopped. Hungarian railcar builder Ganz Mavag is looking to acquire Talgo. The Alaska Railroad could be privatized with an upcoming bill. Colorado state officials hosted a special train from Denver to Longmont to study future passenger service between the two cities. And Siemens posted an official article claiming that Brightline West chose the Volaro Novo as their official HST instead of the Avelia Liberty, only for the article to be removed a few days later from the official Siemens website. I'm not sure if this confirms that Brightline West did in fact select Siemens for building their high-speed train sets, especially since no other news sources reported on the same topic as of yet, but I personally hope that this news is true since I prefer the Volaro Novo to Alstom's problematic Avelia Liberty. In regards to follow-up news, JR East placed the Shinkansen E8 into service, Rails has acquired Huttons and will be continuing their model train brand, Brightline is to construct a station in Cocoa, Florida, CSX has released a heritage unit commemorating the Seaboard Family Line system, and Metro North released a heritage unit commemorating the Penn Central livery that was exclusively used on their FL9s. In other news, SEPTA has painted K car number 9000 into its as-built livery as a heritage streetcar. Some Northeast regionals are now running with ACS 64s on each end to meet faster turnaround times for extra trains. CRRC is to construct passenger lines between Sao Paulo and Campinas, Brazil. Arsenal is to construct the Land of the Pharaohs luxury train in Egypt. H. Kegielski is to build 300 coaches for PKP. Sinara Transport is to construct various natural gas-powered locomotives. Clip International is to purchase Alstom Trax 3 MS electric engines. Guysev is to purchase Sadler Flirts, while Qbuzz is to purchase CAF EMUs. Bob is to purchase the ABEH 4-8 EMU. Hitachi has revealed concept art for DC Metro's 8000 series subways. Toshiba E500 engines have been delivered to Taiwan. Leveonok trams for PCTS have entered service. LNER Peppercon A2 class Blue Peter has been returned to Steam. And Rio Grande 481 pulled the last coal-fired train for the Durango and Silverton. Also, happy 75th anniversary to the California Zephyr, and congratulations to Mississippi Export Railroad and Wheeling and Lake Erie for winning the 2024 Short Line and Regional Railroads of the Year, respectively. After all that, it is now time for this month's Meme of the Month. This month's Meme of the Month is the Better E2. And now, the top story of the March 2024 Pensyfan Periodical is MTA to implement congestion pricing. After holding a final vote at a board meeting on March 27th, the MTA Board of Officials voted to implement its current congestion pricing plan for New York City, which will charge drivers $15 to enter Manhattan south to 60th Street during rush hours starting sometime this June, with trucks and buses being charged a slightly higher fee. All revenue collected from this program, projected to be about $1 billion per year, will be going towards a wide variety of transit projects throughout the city, including a handful of commuter rail projects outside the city, as this plan that charges drivers for entering congested parts of the city has received much praise and criticism from almost everyone in the greater New York City region. Even though the plan is on track to be implemented sometime in June, there are still a handful of various lawsuits that are trying to stop the program from going forward, most notably from the state of New Jersey, citing higher prices and environmental impacts. But these lawsuits can only stop the project if some sort of action is implemented before June. Although I personally do not have any experience in the legal field, and I'm not qualified to list all the possible actions from said lawsuits. I'm also not entirely sure if the MTA will be resuming new contracts, which will continue to be given out with the implementation of congestion pricing, especially based on recent news of the MTA having to pause several projects due to reliance on funding generated by these tolls, but hopefully they're eventually resumed without too much delay. With wildly varying opinions on congestion pricing as a whole, I do feel the MTA is taking a step in the right direction by encouraging more people to utilize public transit instead of driving, as this program should also highlight how desperately public transit across the country needs funding from all levels in order to implement these upgrades and new services quicker, as other cities can follow New York's example by encouraging more mass transit instead of auto-centric projects. Also not directly stated by the MTA, I do hope that most of these funds go into service expansion proposals, many of which were highlighted in the MTA's 20 Years Needs Assessment a few months ago, so this way all parts of the greater NYC region have frequent access to all forms of public transit, especially those with little of it. Even though it may seem harsh or unfair to many, I ultimately hope that congestion pricing is successful at bringing more people onto public transit as well as reducing car-related pollution. As if all goes as planned, New York City will be the first city in the United States to implement anti-congestion policies that directly benefit public transit in just 2 months' time. Thank you everyone for watching this month's episode of the Pensyfan Periodical. There have been a lot of rail news headlines during the month, and it will be very interesting to see what the future has in store for all of these articles. Thank you again for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Have a good day.